Oh, now it's okay. Now it's recording, so that's a good place to start. Hey, my name is Shyloh, and this is Voice Notes. Oh my goodness, let me try one more time. Let's start over. Hi, my name is Shyloh, and this is Voice Notes with Shyloh. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. This is a podcast where I talk to my friends throughout the week by exchanging voice notes. And boy, do you get to hear what's on our minds. This week, I have an awesome guest. But before we get there, have you rated this podcast yet? Have you reviewed it or told your friends? Have you done that? Because, I can't make you, but I would love if you did, and that'd be super cool. Anyway, let's just get into it. I'm really excited to share this episode. This week's guest is a stand-up comedian, a writer, and an all-around good hang. Give it up for Corina Lucas. Anyway, I gotta listen. It's not a live show. I don't have to do that. You guys just please enjoy this conversation I had with Corina Lucas. Hey, Corina, thank you so much for doing the podcast this week. I can't wait to hear what you're thinking about, what you're working on, what's going on for you. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I had an experience this weekend that has been on my mind. I don't have like all the sports channels, and I was at my aunt's and uncle's house, and they have ESPN 8, the OCHO. And I encountered all kinds of sports I'd never heard of, like pillow fighting. There was a pillow fighting championship on TV, slippery stairs, televised dodgeball, televised wiffle ball, which is baseball, but wiffle ball. It was inspiring in the way that it made me realize anyone can be a professional athlete if you just have the right sport. And then it made me remember I actually started comedy because, before I started, I was like, oh, I don't know, will I be good at it? You know how it is. And then I was at a bar and I was watching it must have been on ESPN 8. I was watching professional cornhole, like beanbag toss. And I was like, well, shit, if that's a sport, I could do comedy. And then I started doing comedy. So I guess what I'm learning about myself is that the things that inspire me are the things that are like, this could be easy, or maybe not easy, but achievable. Like, here's an achievable goal. Like, if I could be a beanbag tosser, I'd be a good tosser, I think. And if you could do that, if that can be a thing, anything can be a thing. I think it's just the idea that having a dream is so minimal. I'm not a big thinker, I guess. Well, what's the smallest, easiest way I can become a professional athlete? That's what inspires me. And I'm definitely not coming for any of the people who do those activities because they would crush me in them.
Okay, I've never done one of these voice memos before. So this is, honestly, I have like a gut aversion to voice memos. Whenever like someone sends me a voice memo, I'm always like, just text me, like we're on the thing. So it's just like against my instincts. I like this idea though. But yeah, I didn't know ESPN 8 was an actual thing. I thought that was just in that one Vince Vaughn, Ben Stiller movie about dodgeball. I can't remember the name of it. It was about dodgeball though. I love that your goals are all very achievable. That sounds lovely. I always like the idea that poker players are somehow athletes. That just, if a fellow with like dinosaur circle earrings or circle glasses can be a professional athlete, I'm happy for the state of the world. Truly, it sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not. Yeah, I think I do the opposite. Like, I'm kind of masochistic with my goals. Like, it's how I play video games, too. It's like I play the hardest video games, and I insist on doing it on the hardest difficulty because it doesn't feel right, other words. It's like a perfectionism control thing. There's probably some narcissistic, whatever, and that's not therapy, but it's like stand-up I did it because it felt like the hardest version of performance art, because I was like a theater kid and I was performing, and my dad, he was like an athlete and he wasn't really into it, so I was like, I'll do stand up because that's brutal and it's it's got that machismo, like rub some dirt in it mentality, and I thought maybe I could like get him to like it. But it wound up being a thing. I also grew up on comedy and shit, so I loved it. And I've always been like, I don't know. Was a theater kid, and I would like write sketches. I was just talking about this one like sketch. I came up with an idea before I transitioned, and in retrospect, it was Screaming Egg. But it's like a film noir parody where a detective is like trying to solve his partner's murder, and it's like it's all consuming for him, and he's trying really hard to solve, but he can't see that his dead partner is actually his very clocky wife, who's like not hiding it at all. And that just, it still tickles me. I see maybe a little more, I maybe see a little more context in why that idea tickled me so much at the time, but it still just strikes me as a very funny idea. I like the idea, like that's like the king, that's like a King of the Hill character, Dale Gribble, where like he's just like the most deeply suspicious man on the planet, and he believes every conspiracy, but he cannot see that his wife is sleeping with her masseuse. It's just the funniest thing in the world to me. And yeah, I could talk about King of the Hill for hours, but yeah, I've gone on. We'll talk tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I know what movie you're talking about. It's called Dodgeball. That's just the name of the movie. They just called it Dodgeball. Genius. There's a pirate in that, right? God, a pirate, it gets me every time. I'm here for a pirate. So down for that. The thing is, I didn't know about ESPN 8 either, and the part of it that really stuck with me is I'm watching it with my aunt and uncle, and here comes professional pillow fighting championship, and I was, I'm going to borrow your word, it tickled me. It tickled the little gay thing inside of me. And it's like watching a movie with your parents and the sex scene comes on and it's a really gay sex scene. I just saw that come up and I was like, that's gay. And they're doing it in a boxing ring, but they really ought to be doing it down at the saloon. Damn, I used to watch King of the Hill too. I actually forgot about that. I know what you're talking about though, but I don't like remember a lot of the things I watched before like yesterday, I don't have like that retain it in my memory gift that so many people have. I love that sketch you're talking about though. And you know what else? I love that you're doing stand up in some part of you as a way to get approval from like parental approval when so many of us are doing it at the huge disappointment of our families. But I love that sketch and everything, and I'd love to hear what else you read. Isn't it wild? I go back in my journals and realize, like, oh, there's some things I knew about myself that I didn't realize I knew about myself, or I was more aware of what's going on around me than I had realized, and it's interesting to look back on those things with a more knowing perception of, oh, this was me figuring it out. I am very excited for today because it's going to be date night, which is usually Wednesday, but now it's Tuesday, and we are going to an astrophysics lecture, which, I mean, sexiest date night probably ever. They're talking about dark matter. It's going to be a lot of words I don't know, but I repeat later.
Shyloh, I'm not gonna lie, you were dead wrong about that movie being called Dodgeball. I don't know what it's called, but it is not Dodgeball, okay? Stop gaslighting me about that movie. Seriously, I don't appreciate it. No, but I know what you mean. Like I said with the parents and like ESPN. First of all, when you said professional pillow fighting, what I wanted to be in my head is the biggest bodybuilders in the world taking it very seriously. That's what I want it to be. I know it's probably not that, and it's probably better when it's just gay and fun. I'd probably be better for everyone, but that would just tickle the heck out of me. I'm going to keep using that word also. Yeah, I know what you mean about the sex scenes with parents too. My stepmom's mom took me to see Superbad when I was in high school. She didn't know what was going on. I didn't really have any friends at the time either, so I didn't know what the movie was about. And, it was basically, it was way too long of a movie, too. I think the third act dragged on for like crazy. But it was like 2 hours and something of a long, prolonged sex scene with my Lita. And that was not, we weren't going to walk out. Like, we paid for it. And this was like, let's go have some fun. And anyway, so I know what you're talking about. I also used to watch Jackass with my mom and her husband. And, like, we weren't allowed to say the name of it because that was a curse. So we would just talk about watching the show. So we'd go to watch the show, and it would just be Chris Pontius in a thong, Steve-O, getting erotic with an alligator or something. Like, I still love that show, and I would watch it anytime. But it did feel a little silly that we couldn't say the name of the thing that we were watching. Just the weirdest shit sometimes. And yeah, King of the Hill is like my favorite thing. I love it. With the parents, like, it's so frustrating. You go to enough therapy and fucking everything is just, I always wind up being, it's something from my childhood, isn't it? Of course, it always is. Like, just once, I just want it to be because I'm crazy, I don't want it to be because something happened to me when I was a kid. Yeah, we're all kind of doing that, right? Like, everyone's reliving the relationship patterns they had when they were kids, trying to get a new resolution for them and all that. And the awareness only gets you so far. You actually got to do something about it. But I did not mean to dive into therapy. No, I did. That's a lie. I totally meant to do that. Astrophysics lecture. That sounds like really cool. And I'm trying to decide if it would be a horny date. Like, would that get me going? Ooh, yeah, black holes. That's, just sucking you in, right? Ooh, let me crush me. That's like the ultimate face-sitting fetish. It's like a black hole just being absolutely enveloped. Anywho, that's a fine place to end it.
Well, Corina, you're in luck because professional pillow fighting really is like, not, I don't know if I'd say bodybuilder, but definitely like buff guys, like probably like professional wrestler type guys pillow fighting with these, like, you can tell they're like regulation approved pillows that have a little handle on them, and they're just whipping each other with these pillows, and they take it very seriously. It's just the gayest thing. I don't like it's both the gayest thing and these buff guys taking it incredibly seriously. We should just have a pillow fight watching party some night. Everything really does come back to childhood. I feel you, though, where could you imagine, though, being in a therapy session and your therapist being like, hey, your parents were perfect. You experienced a normal growing up. You are, in fact, crazy. I don't know if that would feel better than just being like, yeah, there's been a lot of weird stuff that's happened, and now I'm trying to deal with it. The astrophysics lecture was actually really cool. I don't understand anything they talked about. There was a gravitational lens, thanks to Einstein, where we're not really looking at the thing. We're looking at the thing in a circle of the thing. And then I learned the word supernovae, which is kind of a cool, hey, supernovae. Probably, it's like a cute little pet name, right? And then, so there's a dark energy that's expanding the universe. And I was like, oh yeah, we better be more positive. Just kidding. It was honestly a pretty sexy date night. And they said black hole a couple times. So someone was using the word hole, which is pretty sexy, right?
Yeah, there's nothing sexier than holes in astrophysics. That's the best scented candle scent, is holes in astrophysics. That's the one I get when I'm trying to, bounce. I'm sending this so late right now. I'm so tired. I forgot to send one back, so I listened to it at like 11 p.m. And I'm happy. I heard I'm just, this is a little disjointed. But anyway, that is so delightful that the pillow fighters take it seriously. I'm picturing like interviews with them. Like, yeah, this is a standard edition Yamaha. He's like polishing it. He's like, this is my rifle. This is my gun. Like doing the Marine shit. And it feels like a Tim Robinson parody sketch of like UFC or whatever. I don't know if Tim Robinson's, whatever. It feels like a parody sketch of like UFC, but it's real and they don't know it, which makes it even better. Those are some of my favorite comedians also. A girl can have a little Schadenfreude as a treat. Sometimes comedians don't realize why they're funny. And they're having a good time, so really no one's getting hurt. That you're laughing for reasons they don't realize why you're... Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, I would never do it if it felt like it was hurting their feelings. It's just... They don't quite get why they're funny, but they're enjoying the laughter, and I'm enjoying watching them. And I hope they never have their illusions shattered, because this is a beautiful symbiosis we have right now, and no one's getting hurt. That was a bit of a departure from what we were talking about before. But yeah, my therapist, I wish she would tell me I'm crazy. I'd just be like, thank you, and I can stop coming here and just start going, and just being a Looney Tune. I can just live my Looney Tune life. That sounds pretty cool. Well, cool is an overstatement, but Looney Tune doesn't sound so bad. No, they're always getting hit by anvils and dynamite. Like I said, it is 11 p.m. I'm getting rambling a little bit. But I am impressed with their artistic talent, and that they're able to paint a tunnel in a cliff, and that I, if I was that coyote, I don't blame that coyote one lick for running into that wall. That's a good-looking wall. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about with seeing things in lenses, and we're not seeing, I am God. Right? I believe it was Friedrich Nietzsche who just loved pretending to quote that boring, terrible man. Yeah, he's not that bad, but it's just a really sad fella. Boy, I wound up actually talking about him without meaning to. But thus spoke Zarathustra, am I right? Also, I don't really like him, but I was a disillusioned 20-something who was reading everything. Okay, I'm really coming off as like I might be alt-right. I'm not. I went anarchist instead, so we're cool. Everything is good. Yeah. That's really the path for disillusioned youth who have political trauma in their childhood, is anarchist or alt-right. And I feel like I got the better deal of the two.
I'm glad you're not alt-right. Also, by the way, I'm the comic that people laugh and I don't really know why, but it seems to work and so I keep doing it. I have so many jokes where I'm like, I don't really get why that's funny, but mine are more like, they're not really still laughing at me. It's like I said something really stupid. I'm like, that's not funny. That's like stupid. Or like, there are things where I'm like, oh, I don't really get why that's funny, because I thought the joke was something else, but they laughed at everything except for the part that I thought was the joke. And then, but like, not just like a little bit. Like, those are some of my bangers. But I've just accepted it. I just think as long as I'm being myself and having fun with it, that's the whole point. Oh my God, I also probably read Nietzsche. I read a lot of like weird philosophy stuff and whatever. In my early 20s living through your early 20s is not something I would wish on anyone, even though most of us get there. There's something about, like, I'm trying to figure out my place in the world that makes you want to read Nietzsche, and it's like, oh no, we've got to do better as a society to help people through that part of their development, their existence, I don't know. I mean, Nietzsche's fine. It's just that, like, there's got to be a better way to get through that part of life. I'm just getting back from the dentist. I went to the dentist this morning, and it's awesome. I got told I'm doing a good job. I love it when I get compliments, and they're like, wow, you're doing such a good job. I was like, oh my God, thank you. I'll see you in 6 months, and you'll say that again. I work so hard all year, the whole 6 months, flossing and brushing just so that I can get that good job. But the other thing I always think about while I'm there, and then I forget about it later, is if you're a dental hygienist, your whole day is just looking inside of people's mouths. And I'm very respectful. I like brush and rinse before I go in there. But I can't imagine, do you ever imagine like what another person's life might be like? Or do you ever just like sit around and think about like, oh, what's the life of like the people walking down the street or whatever? All I can do is sit there with my mouth gaping open, thinking about like, what is this dental hygienist life like? And oh my goodness, they have to look in mouths all day. That's their whole thing. Anyway, I'm gonna go try and find a snack now.
Once again, I meant to respond earlier and set an alarm to do it, and then forgot that it wasn't the alarm that I thought I blew off my alarm thinking it was the alarm I set from the day before, now realizing it was an alarm I needed from today. I live a scattered and chaotic life. That's just what my brain is like. But I remember to get back to you at 1 a.m., which is not technically the same day, but we're counting it because I remembered, like, as I was going to bed, and I remembered, so it counts. And I'm here, and fuck, Nietzsche's the worst. I can't remember what exactly I said about Nietzsche yesterday, but he seems like a terrible, bitter man who probably went through a lot also, and blah, 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 blah. But he's also, it seems like I don't know, I have this image of him just, like, huddled over his papers in the cold with, like, fingerless gloves for some reason. That's how I picture him. And he looks a little bit like Nosferatu, but he's got, like, a Costanza hair on the side. This probably isn't what he looks like at all. I can't even picture the fella. I'm going to spend the whole time talking, fantasizing about Nietzsche and Nosferatu. Boy, we get horny and weird at 1 a.m. Anywho, that's a weird place to land on that thought. Oh, yeah, no, I mean, you aren't the kind of, it's more like the people who don't realize that they aren't, it's like people who, like, think, oh, I'm a fucking genius. I'm the best comedian in the world. Everyone is laughing. And, like, everyone is laughing, but it's like a smugness that I kind of love seeing turn on its head. Just the blind, I'm just better than everyone confidence of someone who shows up for their first set without material. Not like thinking, whatever happens, happens, but showing up like, I'm just going to be one of those people, I'm just going to crush it. I'm going to be a genius. And then when they don't, they're like, well, that audience was just mean. They were nasty. It's just Trump they were just nasty people. I've never really tried to do a Trump impression before, and I'm okay with that. I don't even know if I could I probably can't. I would have tried if I thought I could do one. I can do random voices really well. I can rock, like, Chad Kroeger singing and Garth Brooks singing. I can do a good Morty. I feel like I didn't respond to much of what you said, but this is gold that I'm spitting right now, so I'm just going to let it land there.
No need to apologize for the late night. I'm loving these late night thoughts of yours. They are gold, and I'm not joking. Though you are really slinging gold. I've laughed out loud many times. I do know exactly the type of comedian you're talking about, and it is pretty funny to watch. There's always there's just not a way to describe the experience of watching that. I had a video call with my sister, my niece and nephew today. I call them every Friday, but not really, because I'm also very scattered, even though I have all these systems that are supposed to help me, and they usually do help me remember to do things or stay on task. But I just got off the phone with my niece and nephew today, and my nephew, he's 3 years old, and I am 36 years old, and between the two of us and the way each of our autism manifests, we have come up with a way of having conversations that is just showing each other things on the video call. So it's like, oh, look at my new softball glove, look at my new toy. And today I was talking about cleaning all day because I was, and my vacuum, and he's like, I want to see your vacuums. Okay, I'm showing him my vacuum. That became the whole thing. And now he's telling my sister in kind of having a 3-year-old kind of fit sort of way that he needs his own vacuum. He needs a toy vacuum. And it's funny. I think it's funny because I don't have kids, watching him just be like, I need a vacuum. But we really did spend a lot of time talking about the vacuum, even though he can't handle the noise of it. So I don't know how he's going to get a vacuum. He's going to have to get like special headphones or something. Maybe, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. I think his birthday's coming up in more than a few months, but pretty soon. And yeah, maybe it's just my mission. I'm going to find him like the best vacuum. I'm going to get him the vacuum of his dreams. That is my mission for the next several months. So it's good to go have a goal, right? And that is the weird thoughts that I've been having today. Just thinking about vacuums.
Yo, get him a dustbuster. Kids love dustbusters. Kids go bananas for I know I would. I like that. Not in like a put it on the pee-pee way. That's not what I mean. I don't like that I said that. I was a curious lass. What a fun opening. Anywho, yeah, I like the late night messages too. I have a shorthand. My brother is not 33 years younger than me. He's a year and 3 months older than me, but we do have something of a shorthand. Like, he's different than me in a lot of ways. He's like a jock, and he's kind of more into like a tech and finance world. And we do have the same sense of humor, which I think we just both grew up with. We grew up with the same people, obviously. So we both like Always Sunny and Arrested Development and that kind of thing. You know, stuff that kind of mocks the egocentric behavior a little bit. Boy, I'm really getting off on the ego stuff. Yeah, no, the comedians, like, it's weird because I don't like hurting people. You know, I feel like it's a human thing to not like hurting people. So I don't want them to ever find out that I want them to continue thinking they're a genius and living their blissful lives of thinking that. And then I just get to enjoy it from a distance without hurting anyone. That's the dream. That would be an ideal vacuum to live in, but, you know, we deal with the world we're in, not the one we want. Yeah, I had a set where I accidentally turned the microphone off in the beginning. I just came from it, and it's hard to recover from that, for me personally, because I feel like, oh my god, I did something wrong immediately, and now everyone is mad at me. But what else is new, am I right? No, that's not, I know that's not true. It's just, I do constantly worry about everyone being mad at me all the time. I don't know, you ever have trauma? You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't remember what else we talked about. It's at 2 minutes, but you said, like, go for 2 minutes, but I've been shooting for 3 because I want to one-up you every time. And I'm going to keep doing that. But I really don't have... My dog is just chomping on a bone next to me, and I'm rewatching Stranger Things right now and noticing a bunch of stuff. Like, I don't know. It's cool because it's, like, in the first season, there's, like, all this sort of, like, word stuff going on. All these kids can't put words to, but they know it's wrong, and the adults can't really see it, but there's the one mom who like can see it and refuses to give up on her kid. It's been feeling more profound lately. I'm really going off on one. It's been a weird week. I've been like in the past a lot this week. I had some stuff happen that like brought me back to my childhood, so I have been living there. I'm writing like a little... I'll talk about it more tomorrow. I just started writing it. But anyway, this was a weird one from me. Heavier than I intended, but fart noise, ayy.
I think I should definitely, like, transition these voice notes when I put them together with fart noises now. I love fart noise, ayy, as a sign-off. I love it. I love that the voice notes are really taking the form of what our actual conversations are like, and that's pretty good too. It is interesting, you know, I chose to do this format because, well, for a lot of reasons, and I wasn't really sure what to do with it. I just wanted to play with it, you know, because there's, I don't know, lots of ways to do podcasting, I suppose. And one thing I didn't really think about that I'm finding is really present in doing this way is it is just like no one's there to interrupt you or riff or whatever. It's like, oh, you kind of have to think about it a little bit more, or, you know, it's kind of interesting what can come up and just how the conversation develops when people have the space to like fully think out their thought, even if it does turn into like a whole bunch of like, where was I going with that? And I find myself doing that a lot, but I think it's like it's really interesting, and I don't know, you know, think about like getting me into like philosophies of conversation, or like how much, you know, I have the ADHD, how I literally cannot interrupt people, and it's probably maybe why I love voice notes so much, because I can hear all of what people have to say because I literally can't interrupt them. That's not what I had no idea what I was going to talk about, but it is. I'm actually really glad that people have been really into this, and it's got me just thinking about lots of different kinds of things. And I've been thinking a lot. It's Year of the Snake, so we're like shedding our skin, and I've just been thinking a lot about the kinds of work I'm doing, and that, you know, thinking about my whole life, not just work, and like, yeah, just trying some new things, and maybe letting go of like the more typical ways I thought about doing things. So that was my like deep thought, even though it's like the middle of the night, kind of late night, or the middle of the day. It's the middle of the day, but that's my late night thought for the middle of the day.
Yeah, I hear you on the interrupting thing. I really hate interrupting people. And even when I can kind of tell someone is not listening to me and they're just going to keep talking, I still feel compelled to show them like politeness and decency. So I just sit there as they talk about it, and I'm like, I'm never get a chance to say my thing. It's a really good thing. It's an anime reference, but it's going to wind up being super profound at the end. You better wait. That's like a thing I've been doing more and more of in therapy, especially, is talking about video games and anime, just doing it to fuck off. But then I wind up, oh, I made a point there. I didn't want to do that. And then the therapist kind of smirks, and I'm like, you therapized me. Yeah, no, I'm so closed off with her. I've never cried in therapy. That's not something I'm proud of, but it's a thing that happens with me. Shit, I can't remember what you said, man. But yeah, no, I often forget what I'm saying all the time and drift, and it's hard for me to be myself around other people because the safety thing, I'm like, okay, I have to meet them where they're at. How do I modulate myself so they don't feel threatened, that kind of thing. There was a motorcycle that drove by outside my window, and that's the thing that happened. Yeah, ADHD also, by the way. That that just tracks with the motorcycle sound. I found that Always Sunny has been my, like, solace lately. It feels like it's a parody of the kind of people I was surrounded with a lot growing up, and it's been really comforting for me because there's no illusions about them. They are terrible people. We all see it, and we're laughing at their expense, and that feels kind of good. You know, in a bit of a Schadenfreude way, but a girl can have a little Schadenfreude as a treat. I've been saying that to myself a lot. Every so often, right? You try to be nice to everyone, and you are, but sometimes stuff warrants a little nastiness, and it's not doing anyone any favors to pretend like it's not. I don't know, I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm an optimist. I'm like a deeply suspicious person who tries my best to do right by people. But, you know, not everyone's gonna try their best to do right by you. So sometimes it can be a nice release to just be like, fuck, oh yeah, fart noise. We should do those. I'm gonna end this one on a fart noise as well.
I think that the quote, "A girl can have a little Schadenfreude as a treat," is the title of this episode. So thank you for that. And yeah, I think also like never cried in therapy should be added to your bio. That's a credit for sure. I think I would if you sent me that bio and it was like I've never cried in therapy, I'd be like, booked you right now. Just kidding. But maybe I'd be curious. It would pique my curiosity for sure. I'm about to go play softball on my softball league in a heat advisory, which we love. It's not quite a heat advisory. My game should be done before the official heat advisory, but it's gonna be warm. You know what though? I love being on a softball team. I was not excited for summer, and then I got asked to be on the softball team, and by that I mean I pouted until they let me join, and it has been one of the best things in my adult life. Like, I am an athlete, and I only got injured kind of bad one time, and that's fine, and it was actually just preseason batting cage injury. So that's how I'm going to be wrapping up my week. But I did go see Night Moves last night at First Ave with the girlfriend, and it was great. It was like that you know, when they do the fog and the backlighting, so it's super moody and broody and just like these really mysterious emotional four men with their instruments. It was like that, and I loved it. But yeah, that's been my week. Corina, thank you so much for doing this podcast. I love talking to you. Feel free to send me late night voice notes anytime with all your thoughts or pseudotherapy, whatever. I'm here for it. I love it. Please make sure in the next note you send to me to list your socials or any shows you have coming up in the next week or 2 or 3 or 4, and anything you want people to know about that you're working on or whatever. But thank you so much. This was really fun talking to you. I'm really grateful you wanted to do this, and I hope you had fun too.
Yeah, no, I chuckled when you said a girl can have a little... I forgot that I said a girl can have a little Schadenfreude as a treat. Yeah, a girl can. I agree. Sometimes the situation calls for it. Yeah, never crying in therapy, either a red flag or the coolest thing ever. In my case, a bit of both. You know what? So I just totally contradicted what I just said. To be honest, with crying, and I can cry in front. Well, crying in front of people is hard for me in particular. But particularly with the therapist, it's the feeling like she might be trying to coerce it out of me, like she's trying to trick it out of me. So then she could be like, you cried. And that's that is a hilarious thing I just said that is not weird and sad. Yeah, crying is tough. I'm realizing I talk a little bit like that assassin in Game of Thrones. You know, a girl can have a little Schadenfreude. A girl has no need for this. You know, that kind of... I fuck with the faceless... Although faceless men, I mean, come on, we're faceless. Why do we have to be men about it? Like, just be faceless people. Like, why do those who have no identity have to be gendered? I feel like I'm taking a weird stance. But I believe that. I fuck with that. George R. R. Martin missed an opportunity to free us from that. And, here's something I wonder about a lot also. Legend of Zelda. Princess Zelda dresses up as Sheik and begins to go by he, him pronouns. Now, Sheik wants to be called he, him pronouns, though I, as the viewer, know Sheik is masquerading as he, him pronouns, as having he, him pronouns to avoid persecution. And my saying the dead pronouns does not affect that safety in any way. So my question for you is, what are Sheik's pronouns when I am talking about Sheik? That's something that's irked me for a decade. You know what? You'll never answer that. That's right, because that's the last question. Well, I suppose it's a question for the viewers then. I want everyone to tune in and get back to us. What pronouns should I use for Sheik? Wrong answers only, please.
Hey, thank you for listening to Voice Notes with Shyloh, and huge thank you to Corina Lucas for doing Voice Notes with Shyloh. What fun that was. I always love talking to you, Corina. Please, I'll see you. I see you usually every once in a while, so I can't wait to see you. This was super fun. Thank you very much. Hey, if anyone who's listening right now would like to learn more about Corina and what she's working on and where she's performing and whatnot, you can look at all of her links on her Linktree. It's Linktree, the linktr.ee / I think Corina Lucas, Corina Lucas. It'll be in the show notes. You can also follow me at Shyloh Blake on just about everything. I'll put my Linktree in the show notes as well. And thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week to find out what I got up to this week. And hey, why don't you just take a second to send, or maybe 2 minutes actually, and send someone in your life a voice note. I bet they'd love it.